Hello and welcome to Hemmings Garage Overtime. My name is Junior Nevison, and today we are going to continue doing a little sympathetic restoration on our 273. When we left off, the water jackets were completely full of rust, dirt, crud. I pressure washed those out and I started installing freeze plugs. I got some freeze plugs locally, some steel ones. Be careful when you buy the cheap steel ones. I don't know if you can see how badly this got pressed, but I started installing these. I put 3 on one side, flipped the motor, started putting another one in, and 2 fell out. So definitely spend the money and get a good quality brass one. And that's what we're going to use today. Let's take a little bit of sandpaper and clean out all the rust, any other sealant that was in there, make it nice and smooth. You don't want to go crazy and make the hole bigger. Everybody has a little different idea on this, but I like to use the Permatex aviation sealant because this will solidify in an anaerobic environment. I know a lot of people like to use RTV or silicone, but I think that would be just too slippery and make it too easy for these to come back out. I know they make special tools for these, but sockets have worked for years. And you just want to make sure it's in past the bevel, at least Father Chrysler here, the Dodge brothers, had a bevel cut in there, so just want to make sure that it's in and it's even. You want to make sure the tire freeze plug is in there. There you go, one done. All right. That's pretty much it. I have 1 here in the back of this head and 2 in the back of the block, but I'll do those 2 once I get it off the engine stand. And then next is going to be valve seals. Oh joy. So all the spark plugs are out, and what I've done is basically hollowed out an old spark plug, took the porcelain out and TIG welded an air fitting on. So now I'm going to pressurize the cylinder with shop air, and that's going to hopefully keep enough pressure on the valves so they don't drop out. Now they got pressure in there, just going to again hit around on the retainer to try and free up the keepers, and if the keepers are locked you'll hear it pop. Keepers are locked. What's happening right now is the valve is actually separating from the seat just a little bit, because I'm only pushing on the retainer because I'm around the keepers. Now I don't have that pop. Keepers are loose. Keepers are loose. So if you didn't get the keepers loose, when you compress the spring, you wouldn't be able to get the retainer off of the keepers in the valve stem. So you'd try to push it and then the valve would open and let all the air out of the cylinder. So it pays to give it that little tap beforehand to make sure, and the sound will let you know when they've come loose. A little bit of a struggle always to get them out. So you get one out, get the second one out. Usually comes out a lot easier. I know you're saying, why don't you use a magnet? I don't like it to use a magnet because I don't want to magnetize the keepers here. Because if you do get any metal floating around, even a slight amount of magnetism will stick to that. So these are the valve seals. These are the umbrella style, which is obvious because valve stem actually sits around there and this seals around it to keep the oil out. Obviously this one is broken. All of them were broken because they're just brittle from heat. So we've got a bunch of these and we're going to replace them. That's it. All right. Get all our leftover pieces out of there. Set that on. Double check, make sure we have no debris or really sharp edges on the keepers. And then promptly drop it. Get one in, rotate that around. Get the other one in. There we go, one done. Repeat 15 more times. All right, so valve seals are done. I'm gonna button up the motor so it's watertight, and we're gonna give it the degreaser, prep, and POR engine paint treatment. Make it all nice and shiny, and then we're pretty much done with the hard stuff for this. And we'll move on to prepping the cab and the truck, and hopefully no more surprises. So we're gonna degrease this block the best we can. I've closed off as much as I can to keep it waterproof. I'm gonna try and get a decent paint job on this, or at least as decent as I can get. I think this is the third or fourth time I've tried degreasing this motor at this point. Suppose this will help take off any loose paint. Ah, I broke it. Boo. Oh well, moving on. So I just degreased it, let it dry a little bit. Now I've got a spray bottle of the POR metal prep. We're going to spray that on everywhere, give it 20 minutes to sit. We'll rinse that off, let it dry, and then we'll start putting on our first layer. So metal prep's done. Obviously, we got our little base coat on there. I'm going to use the gray rust preventative because I think that'll work best as a base using this kind of bright orange. I think the black would probably make it too dark. So let's give this a shot and see what happens. There we go. Oh yeah, that's a nice light gray primer color. This will work great. Oh, this stuff flows nicely. Okay, so motor's done, painted, it's dry. Just share with you a couple of things that I learned. This engine enamel is very, very high in solids. It's also very, very thick. It actually goes on warm honey is the best way I can describe it. So first thing, your $2 brush, don't use that. Splurge on a $3 brush. Something that's fine, will work a lot better. And I was here way too late at night doing this, and I tried to do it in one coat. I ended up with a lot of runs because this stuff will flow for quite a while. It takes a while to dry. So you definitely want to do it in 2 coats. And like I said, it flows really, really well. You just got to give it a little time. Those brush strokes will fill in, and there it is. It honestly looks great. When I first brushed it on, I thought I was painting a pumpkin. The color didn't look good, but as it dried, it definitely came out to our Hemi orange. And that's pretty much it for this episode. In the next episode, we're going to tackle the interior, get that all cleaned up, squared away, get the doghouse in. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down below. As always, thank you for watching.